What kind of conviction would you need in your heart to pursue a course of action that you are very confident that key leaders in your community would not only seek to dissuade you from, but if you continued to pursue it, they would torture you and publicly execute you? Can you imagine having a conviction that was so strong that knowing all of those things you would continue to pursue it? I know it's hard to imagine, hard in Australia because we don't really do public torture and execution here so much anymore, unless of course you're involved in federal politics. But apart from that, we're fairly laid back as a culture. But just imagine for a moment that you believed in something so strongly, that you thought was so worthwhile, that was such a good that was worth pursuing, that you were willing to not only put your own life on the line with a fair degree of certainty that that's what it would take, but you also called others to follow you, even though authority figures in the community were doing everything they could to dissuade anyone from following your example. What kind of conviction would that be? What would be the form of it? How deep would you need to be held by that conviction to propel you to take those actions at such cost to yourself and potentially to those who look to you as a leader and example? This week at Mustard Seed we're looking at a few verses in Matthew chapter 16, the verses 21 to the end of the chapter there, where Jesus knows full well that he's on his way to Jerusalem and that he is going to encounter the opposition of the religious people, the chief priests and the scribes, and that they are going to scourge him and persecute him and ultimately kill him. He's really clear about that. He's so clear about it that one of his key leaders, Peter, says, "God forbid, no one's going to do that to you, we won't let them." And Jesus rounds on him and says, you haven't got the point here. This is what has to happen. This is what has to happen if I live out the convictions that I have, if I pursue the things that God has given me to do. That is what is going to happen to me. And not only so, but if you want to follow me, you have to be ready to allow that to likewise happen to you. Now that's a pretty big call. In our modern era, we're aware of people who are willing to take their own lives and the lives of others in their cause, and we generally don't consider that to be worth following as an example. But even that is easier to do than giving your life, allowing other people to take it. At least when you take your own life, you're in control of the moment, I guess. But when you give your life, you give yourself to others, and if they take your life, that is the most distressing and difficult of all. Come on Sunday morning, either at Zoom Church or through the Facebook Live feed, and have a listen in to the conversation we have about the kind of conviction it takes to pursue knowingly a course of action that will very, very likely end in others taking your life. There is no other love quite like this, no other grace so complete. It's so foreign to us, we barely understand it. Sounds like there's a train coming.